In the shattered streets of Bakhmut, a small city in eastern Ukraine became the scene of one of the bloodiest battles of the 21st century. What began as a limited operation turned into a 10-month meat grinder that consumed tens of thousands of lives. This is the story of Bakhmut, from its quiet pre-war days to its near-total destruction. The roots trace back to late 2013. Widespread protests erupted in Kiev after President Viktor Yanukovych abandoned an EU association agreement for closer ties with Moscow. The Maidan revolution led to his ouster in February 2014. Russia called it a coup. Within days, Russian special forces seized Crimea. A disputed referendum followed on March 16th, and on March 18th Russia formally annexed the peninsula. Pro-Russian separatists then took Donetsk and Luhansk. Years of frozen conflict and the Minsk agreements failed to bring peace. By early 2022, over 14,000 had died. On February 24, 2022, Russia launched its full-scale invasion. After the failed push on Kiev, Moscow pivoted to the Donbass. The goal: capture Donetsk and Luhansk fully and secure a land corridor to Crimea. By summer 2022, attention focused on the small city of Bakhmut. Before the war, Bakhmut was a modest industrial city of about 75,000 in Donetsk Oblast. Founded around a 16th to 17th century fortress by the Bakhmutka River, it grew with salt and gypsum mining. Its underground caverns stored sparkling wine, earning it the nickname City of Wine and Roses. It sat at the intersection of key roads and rail lines, vital for logistics. For Ukraine, holding Bakhmut delayed Russian advances and protected deeper defensive lines. For Russia, capturing it offered a symbolic victory and helped secure the Donbass-Crimea corridor. By late summer 2022, the assault began in earnest. Russian forces, led heavily by the Wagner Group, tightened the noose around Bakhmut's outskirts. Villages changed hands repeatedly under relentless artillery. Wagner, recruiting heavily from prisons with promises of amnesty, used meat grinder tactics, sending waves of poorly trained fighters to probe and exhaust Ukrainian defenses. Ukrainian soldiers dug deep trenches, reinforced with whatever they could find, while enduring constant shelling. Modern drones delivered grenades, scouted, and even supplied troops, while electronic warfare jammed signals. The battlefield fused World War I trenches with 21st century technology. Artillery dominated Russia, firing tens of thousands of shells daily. By November 2022, the battle escalated into urban warfare. Russian forces captured Soledar in January 2023 after brutal fighting, opening the northern flank. Street-by-street combat intensified through February and March. Ukrainian forces conducted tactical withdrawals, destroying bridges and using the urban terrain for ambushes. Wagner units led many assaults, taking heavy losses but slowly advancing. By early April, much of the city center had fallen, though Ukrainian pockets held out. The fighting was merciless. Soldiers on both sides described isolation in trenches, drone-delivered supplies, and calling artillery on their own positions to survive. Bakhmut became a symbol. For Ukraine, a fortress of resilience. For Russia, a prize to prove progress. On May 20, 2023, Wagner leader Yevgeny Prigozhin declared the city captured. Russia raised its flag in the devastated center. Ukraine maintained that fighting continued on the flanks and western outskirts. The human cost was staggering. Estimates of nearly 20,000 Wagner fighters killed, over 200 per day on average, plus significant Ukrainian losses. Prigozhin soon withdrew Wagner, bitterly criticizing Russian military leadership for ammunition shortages. These tensions later contributed to his mutiny and death. By the end of May, Bakhmut lay in ruins. Its pre-war population of 75,000 had almost entirely fled. Centuries of heritage, salt mines, vineyards, historic buildings were buried under rubble. Strategically, the capture gave Russia a modest boost to the land corridor and artillery range, but analysts from the UK Ministry of Defense and others called it largely symbolic. Russia suffered a sunk cost tragedy, pouring resources into a prestige objective. For Ukraine, the defense depleted reserves but bought critical time, weakened Russian offensive power, and boosted national morale. President Zelensky repeatedly highlighted Bakhmut as a symbol of endurance. The Battle of Bakhmut stands as one of modern history's bloodiest attritional fights. A Pyrrhic victory for Russia and a costly but resolute stand for Ukraine. Its ruins remain a powerful testament to the devastating human and material price of this war.